The wedding I paid for but wasn't invited to. Part 1. The message. The notification lit up my phone at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was lying in bed, my 8-year-old daughter Maya finally asleep beside me after another round of nightmares. My son Derek, 12, was in his room, probably still awake with his headphones on, doing homework he'd put off all week. I was that particular kind of exhausted that comes from being both mother and father, both breadwinner and homemaker, both the strong one and the one who cries silently in the shower. I almost didn't check the message. Almost. Adeline, we need to talk about Saturday. It would be better if you didn't come to the wedding. You and the kids, you're making things awkward. People are asking questions we don't want to answer. Just stay home. Mom. I read it 3 times. Then I read it again. My thumb hovered over the screen, trembling. Not from sadness. Not yet. From something else. Something that felt like a door slamming shut inside my chest. Saturday was my sister Bethany's wedding. The wedding I had organized. The wedding I had funded. The wedding that had my credit card statement looking like a crime scene. I set the phone down carefully on the nightstand, as if it might explode. Maya stirred beside me, her small hand finding mine even in sleep. She always knew when I needed her, even when she was dreaming. The ceiling fan turned in slow circles above me. I counted the rotations. 1, 2, 3. Somewhere around 17, the numbness started to crack. And underneath it was something I hadn't felt in years. Rage. Pure, clean, liberating rage. Part 2. The reckoning. The thing about being the family's financial backbone is that you become invisible in a very specific way. You're essential, but you're not really there. You're a function, not a person. An ATM with a heartbeat. I became that person 7 years ago when my husband left. One day he was there, complaining about the coffee I'd made and the way I'd folded his shirts. The next day, gone. Just a note on the counter that said, I need to find myself, as if he'd been lost somewhere in our 2-bedroom apartment, hiding behind the couch. What he left behind? 2 kids who didn't understand why Daddy didn't love them anymore, a pile of debt I didn't know existed, and a single mother who had to learn very quickly that crying was a luxury she couldn't afford. What I found? I was stronger than I'd ever imagined. I took a job at a logistics company, worked my way up from admin assistant to operations manager in 5 years. I picked up freelance bookkeeping on weekends. I learned to stretch a dollar like taffy, to make chicken last 5 meals, to cut my own hair in the bathroom mirror. My family noticed my newfound stability the way vultures notice wounded prey. It started small. Mom needed help with her electric bill, just this once. Bethany's car needed new tires. Could I cover it? My brother Tyler needed bail money after a DUI. Family helps family, right? Then it got bigger. Mom's partner, Carl, needed a loan for his business venture. Bethany needed her student loans paid off so she could focus on her relationship with Brandon, her fiancé. Tyler needed rent. Again. And again. And again. I said yes every time. Because that's what good daughters do. That's what good sisters do. That's what women like me do. We give until we're hollow, and then we figure out how to give some more. The wedding had been the biggest ask yet. Part 3. The investment. 6 months before that text message, Bethany had shown up at my apartment with Brandon and a Pinterest board that looked like it cost more than my car. I want you to help plan it, she'd said. Her eyes bright with the particular selfishness that only a 24-year-old bride can manage. You're so good at organizing things. And well, Brandon's family doesn't have much, and Mom's been so stressed with Carl's situation. Carl's situation was that he'd lost another job and was now permanently installed on my mother's couch, contributing nothing but opinions and demands. And you know I've always dreamed of a garden wedding, Bethany continued, scrolling through pictures of venues that looked like they'd been designed by Disney princesses on cocaine. Nothing huge, just elegant, intimate. 200 people, max. 200 people, intimate. I should have said no. I should have laughed or cried or thrown her Pinterest board out the window. Instead, I heard myself say, I'll handle it. The number I'd committed to that day, if I'd known it, would have made me vomit. $47,000. The venue deposit alone was $8,000. Catering was $15,000. The photographer Bethany insisted on, he did Chelsea Handler's cousin's wedding, was $6,000. Flowers, $5,000. DJ, $3,000. Dress alterations, rentals, invitations, party favors shaped like tiny champagne bottles that served no purpose except to end up in landfills. I paid for it all. Not because I was wealthy, I was drowning. I took out a personal loan. I cashed in the small retirement account I'd been building. I picked up extra freelance work and slept 4 hours a night. But here's the thing nobody tells you about financial abuse within families. You participate in your own destruction because you're convinced it's love. Every time you pay, you're buying another chance to belong, another opportunity to be valued, another moment where you matter. Except you don't matter. You never did. You're just the one with money. Part 4. The group chat. I didn't sleep after the text message. How could I? Instead, I did what any self-destructive person does at midnight. I opened the family group chat, the one I'd been muted in for the last 3 weeks. I scrolled up reading messages I'd missed, or rather, messages I'd been deliberately excluded from seeing in real time. Should we tell Addie she's not invited, officially? I'll handle it. She'll understand. She always does. Does this mean we don't have to deal with her weird kids? Thank God. Maya's so clingy and Derek's always judging everyone, right? And Addie always looks so tired. It's depressing. This is supposed to be a happy day. Maybe she'll finally get the hint that nobody wants her around. LOL, probably not. She's too desperate for approval. That's enough. She's still your sister. She's just going through a lot. And the kids don't fit the aesthetic we're going for. The aesthetic they were going for? With my money. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped the phone. Maya had shifted in her sleep, her breathing soft and steady. In his room, I could hear Derek's music, muffled and rhythmic. My kids. My weird, clingy, judgmental, non-aesthetic fitting kids. The only 2 people in the world who loved me without a price tag attached. I looked at my phone again, at the laughing emojis, at the casual cruelty, at the way my family discussed me like I was a problem to be managed, an embarrassment to be hidden, and something inside me, something that had been bending for 7 years, straining under the weight of everyone else's needs, finally snapped. Not broke, snapped. Like a branch that becomes a weapon. Part 5. The contract. I didn't make the decision emotionally. That's what people don't understand about moments like this. The biggest acts of self-preservation aren't hot and impulsive. They're cold and calculated. I made coffee at 6 a.m. I got the kids ready for school. I packed lunches, checked homework, reminded Derek about his science project. I was a mother first, always. But after I dropped them off, I didn't go to work. I went to my filing cabinet. I'm a bookkeeper by trade, remember? I keep receipts the way other people keep memories. Every transaction, every contract, every signature. I have records. It took me 20 minutes to find what I was looking for, the venue contract for Bethany's wedding. I'd signed it myself. I'd put down the deposit, $8,000 that I'd borrowed from my retirement fund. I'd made every subsequent payment, and according to the contract's terms and conditions, which I now read with the attention of a lawyer preparing for war, I was listed as the primary point of contact. Not Bethany, not my mother, me. Which meant, technically, legally, the wedding reservation was in my name. And according to Section 7, subsection C, I could cancel with a 15% penalty if I provided notice at least 7 days in advance. Saturday was in 9 days. I sat in my car in the parking lot, the contract on my lap, my phone in my hand. 15% of $8,000 was $1,200. $1,200 to cancel my own humiliation, to take back something that was mine, to stop being the family ATM. My finger hovered over the venue's phone number. Don't come to the wedding. You and your children are making things awkward. I pressed dial. Part 6. The call. Willowbrook Garden Estate, this is Jennifer speaking. Jennifer had been my point of contact for 6 months. She knew me. She liked me. She'd once told me I was the most organized bride liaison she'd worked with. I wasn't the bride, but I was the one who cared. Hi, Jennifer. This is Adeline Morrison. I'm calling about the wedding reservation for Saturday the 15th. Oh, yes. Everything's all set. We're so excited for Bethany's big day. The weather is supposed to be perfect. Perfect weather for a wedding I wasn't invited to. Actually, I need to cancel the reservation. Silence. Long enough that I thought the call had dropped. I'm sorry, cancel? The wedding is in 9 days. I'm aware. According to the contract, I can cancel with a 15% penalty if I provide notice at least 7 days in advance. I'm providing that notice now. Miss Morrison. Jennifer's voice had shifted from professional to concerned. Is everything all right? I know wedding planning is stressful, but everything is fine. I'm just exercising my contractual right to cancel. But the bride, your sister, have you spoken with her about this? My sister will be notified appropriately. The contract is in my name. I'm the one who paid the deposits and all subsequent fees. I'm canceling. Another pause. I could hear her typing. Ms. Morrison, I have to warn you. The penalty for cancellation at this point is $1,200 and it's non-refundable. I understand. And the date is now back in our system. If someone else books it before your sister can rebook, I understand completely. Please process the cancellation. More typing. Then, all right, I've processed it. You'll receive a confirmation email within the hour. I'm sorry things didn't work out. Don't be, I said, and I meant it. This is the best decision I've made in years. I hung up before she could respond. My hands weren't shaking anymore. My chest wasn't tight. For the first time in 7 years, I felt like I could breathe all the way down to the bottom of my lungs. I'd just canceled my sister's wedding, and I'd never felt more free. But here's where the story gets good. Because I'm not cruel, I'm not vindictive, I'm not the villain my family will inevitably paint me as. I'm just done being used. The wedding date, Saturday the 15th, 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., Willowbrook Garden Estate, was now available, and I knew exactly who deserved it. My coworker Rachel had been engaged for 3 years. She and her fiancé Marcus had been saving for a wedding, but life kept getting in the way. Her mother's medical bills, his student loans, the normal catastrophes that plague normal people who don't have families willing to bankroll their fantasies. They'd been planning to get married at City Hall next month. I called her during my lunch break. Rachel, remember how you said you wished you could have a real wedding? Addie, we've been over this. Marcus and I can't afford. What if I told you I could get you Willowbrook Garden Estate for free? Full venue, Saturday the 15th, 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. No catch. Silence. Then, what are you talking about? I explained. Not everything, not the humiliation, but enough. A family conflict, a canceled reservation, a date that was now available, and a venue coordinator who owed me a favor. But that's in 9 days, Rachel said. I know. Too soon? She laughed, and it sounded like tears. Addie, that's our anniversary. Marcus and I met on the 15th, 3 years ago. We always said if we ever had money for a real wedding, we'd try to do it on the 15th. Sometimes the universe doesn't just open doors, it kicks them off their hinges. Call the venue, I said. Tell Jennifer I referred you, she'll work with you. And Rachel, you deserve this. You and Marcus are the real thing. She was crying now. I don't know what to say. Say you'll invite me to the wedding. Of course. God, Addie, you're incredible. I wasn't incredible. I was just done being invisible. I hung up and immediately called Jennifer back. Miss Morrison, I have someone who wants to book the 15th. Her name is Rachel Chen. She's going to call you in about 5 minutes. Please work with her. If there are any costs she can't cover, let me know. You're giving away your sister's wedding date. It was never my sister's wedding date. It was mine. And now it's Rachel's. Jennifer was quiet for a moment. Then, I've been doing this for 12 years. I've seen a lot of family drama. But this is beautiful. This is survival. I corrected. But thank you. Part 8. The silence. I didn't tell my family what I'd done. I simply stopped responding. My mother texted Tuesday morning, Addie, we need to confirm final numbers with the venue. Can you call them? I deleted it. Bethany texted Tuesday afternoon. Hey, did you order the party favors? I haven't gotten a tracking number. I deleted it. Tyler texted Tuesday evening. Mom says you're being dramatic about the wedding thing. Just get over it. I blocked his number. Wednesday, the calls started. I let them all go to voicemail. Thursday, my mother showed up at my office. Security called up. Miss Morrison, there's a Linda Morrison here to see you. She says she's your mother. Tell her I'm in a meeting. She says it's an emergency. Tell her it's not. I heard raised voices through the phone. Then silence. Then security again. She's leaving, but she says you need to call her immediately about Saturday. Thank you, Marcus. I appreciate you. Friday morning, 3 days before the wedding, my phone exploded. 17 missed calls, 34 text messages. My inbox was a war zone. Mom, Adeline, call me now. Bethany, what did you do? Mom, the venue says there's no reservation. Bethany, they said you canceled it. Tyler, you're such a selfish bitch. Mom, how could you do this to your sister? Bethany, my wedding is in 3 days. Mom, call me right now or I'm driving to your apartment. I turned my phone off, made breakfast for my kids, took them to school, went to work, lived my life as if the world wasn't burning down around me. Because here's what I'd learned. Sometimes the only way to survive a fire is to let it burn without you. Part 9, the collapse. I turned my phone back on Saturday morning, 347 notifications. I didn't read them. Instead, I opened my email and found the one I was looking for, from Jennifer at Willowbrook Garden Estate. Dear Adeline, I wanted to let you know that Rachel and Marcus's wedding was absolutely beautiful. Despite the short notice, they pulled together something magical. Rachel told me what you did for them, how you gave them your reservation. I've never seen anything like it. You changed their lives. I hope you know that. Whatever is happening with your family, I hope you find peace. You deserve it. Jennifer. Attached were photos. Rachel in a simple white dress that probably came from a department store, glowing like she'd swallowed the sun. Marcus in a suit that was slightly too big, looking at her like she was the only person in the universe. Their friends and family, maybe 40 people total, scattered around the garden in genuine, unperformed joy. It was perfect, small and real and perfect. Everything Bethany's wedding wasn't supposed to be. I let myself cry then, not from sadness, but from relief, from the deep, bone-level satisfaction of knowing I'd done the right thing. Then I made the mistake of checking the family group chat. Mom, emergency venue in Riverside, 2 p.m. Everyone better show up. Tyler, this place looks like shit. Bethany, it's raining. This is the worst day of my life. Mom, it's the best we could do. Blame your sister. Riverside was a cheap reception hall 40 minutes outside the city, the kind of place that hosts retirement parties and quinceañeras on a budget. I looked up the weather. Thunderstorms. Heavy rain all afternoon. I should have felt guilty. I didn't. I felt free. Part 10. The unraveling. The full story reached me in pieces over the next week, cobbled together from texts I didn't respond to and voicemails I deleted without listening to completely. The wedding had been a disaster. The Riverside venue was a cinder block rectangle, with fluorescent lighting and a persistent smell of mildew. The rain had started at 1:30 p.m. and didn't stop until 9. Half the guests didn't show up, either because they couldn't find the new location or because they simply didn't care enough to try. Bethany walked down an aisle of folding chairs in a dress that cost more than some people's cars, crying. Not the pretty, photogenic crying of a bride overcome with emotion, the ugly, snotty, mascara-running crying of someone whose fantasy has collided with reality. Brandon's family, apparently, had been appalled. His mother had made several comments about false advertising and financial irresponsibility. Several guests left before dinner. But the real catastrophe came during the reception. One of Brandon's groomsmen, drunk and belligerent, had apparently decided it was the perfect time to announce that Brandon had been cheating on Bethany for 6 months with a coworker, and that the coworker was pregnant. The reception erupted. Brandon denied it, then admitted it, then tried to downplay it. The coworker, who had inexplicably been invited to the wedding, confirmed it. Bethany threw her bouquet at Brandon's head. His mother started screaming. Someone called someone else a whore. The DJ kept playing Ed Sheeran. It was, by all accounts, spectacular. Part 11. The Confrontation. My mother showed up at my apartment Sunday afternoon. I'd just gotten home from taking the kids to the park. Maya was drawing on the living room floor. Derek was in his room, probably on his computer. Normal, safe. Mine. The knock was aggressive, the kind of knock that carries a threat. I looked through the peephole. My mother stood there, her face a mask of barely contained fury. Behind her, Bethany, her eyes swollen from crying. I opened the door but didn't invite them in. "How could you?" my mother started. "No hello, no preamble. How could you do that to your sister?" "Do what?" I kept my voice level. "You know what? You canceled the wedding venue. You humiliated her. You ruined the most important day of her life." I exercised my contractual right to cancel a reservation I paid for. It wasn't yours to cancel. Actually, legally, it was. My name on the contract, my money, my decision. Bethany was crying again. "You're a monster. Brandon left me. Did you know that? He called off the marriage because of you, because the wedding was so awful. Brandon left you because he's a cheater and a coward. That has nothing to do with me." "Everything has to do with you," my mother shouted. "You're the one who—" Who what? Who paid for the wedding? Who organized everything? Who worked herself into the ground so Bethany could have her perfect day? Yes, that was me. And then you told me not to come. You said my children and I were making things awkward. You said we didn't fit your aesthetic. My mother's face shifted. Not to shame, she was incapable of that, but to something else. Calculation. "We didn't mean." "Yes, you did. You meant every word. I've read the group chat, Mom. I've seen what you really think of me." Bethany's crying intensified. "You're tearing this family apart." I laughed. Actually laughed. "I'm not tearing anything apart. I'm just refusing to hold it together anymore. Do you know how much I've given you? How much money? How much time? How much of myself?" "Family helps family," my mother said, her voice cold. "No, family respects family. Family doesn't exploit family. Family doesn't humiliate family and then demand more." "So, this is it?" my mother said. "You're just done with us?" "Yes." The word hung in the air between us like a blade. "You'll regret this when you need us." "I won't need you. I've never needed you. You've needed me." I closed the door in their faces. Through the wood, I heard Bethany wailing. I heard my mother saying something I couldn't make out, her voice sharp and bitter. Then I heard their footsteps retreating. And then I heard nothing. Part 12. The Aftermath. The silence that followed wasn't peaceful at first. It was loud with ghosts. All the voices in my head telling me I'd made a mistake, that family was supposed to forgive, that I was selfish and cruel and wrong. But slowly, over days and then weeks, the ghosts faded. And what was left was space. Space to breathe. Space to exist. Space to be something other than an ATM or a solution to someone else's problems. Derek noticed first. "Mom, you seem different," he said one night at dinner. "I am happier," I told him. "I made some changes." Maya looked up from her chicken nuggets. "Are Grandma and Aunt Bethany still mad at us?" "They're not mad at you, baby. They're mad at me. And that's okay." "Why?" How do you explain to an 8-year-old that sometimes love isn't enough? That sometimes the people who are supposed to protect you are the ones you need protection from? Because I set some boundaries. I decided I wasn't going to let people treat me badly anymore, even if they're family. Derek nodded slowly. "Good. They were always kind of mean to you." Part 13. The epilogue. 6 months later, I got a letter. Not a text, not an email, a physical letter with a stamp and everything. It was from Carl, my mother's boyfriend. Ex-boyfriend, apparently. "Dear Adeline, I'm writing this because I think you deserve to know what happened after you left. Your mother and Bethany told everyone you were the villain, that you'd sabotaged the wedding out of jealousy, that you were bitter and cruel. Your brother Tyler backed them up. But I didn't believe it. I've been living with your mother for 3 years, and I've watched how she treats you. I've watched her take and never give anything back. I left her last month. I told her that if she couldn't appreciate the one daughter who actually cared enough to help, then she didn't deserve her. She didn't take it well. Bethany and Brandon got back together, by the way, then broke up again, then got back together. It's a mess. Your brother is in rehab, which I hope works out for him. But here's what I really wanted to say. You were right about everything. You were the only one in that family with any dignity. I don't expect you to forgive any of us, but I wanted you to know that at least one person saw the truth. Take care of yourself and those kids. Carl. I read the letter 3 times. Then I put it in a drawer and went back to my life. Part 14. The truth. Here's what they don't tell you about cutting off toxic family members. The guilt never fully goes away. There are still nights when I wonder if I was too harsh, if I should have tried one more time, if there was something I could have said or done differently. But then I look at my kids, thriving now, happier without the constant undercurrent of judgment and dysfunction. I look at my bank account, slowly recovering. I look at myself in the mirror, older, maybe, but lighter, free. And I know I made the right choice. Rachel and Marcus are still married, by the way. They invited me to their first anniversary dinner. They're expecting their first baby in December. When Rachel asked me why I'd given them the wedding date, I told her the truth. Because you deserved it. Because love shouldn't be a performance. Because some people understand that marriage is about partnership, not Instagram photos. She'd cried and hugged me and said, "You saved me from giving up on having a real wedding. How can I ever repay you?" "Be happy," I told her. That's enough. Part 15. The lesson. It's been a year now since the wedding that wasn't. My mother has tried to reach out twice, both times through other people, a cousin I barely know, my father's sister, both times with the same message. She's your mother. You owe her. I don't respond. Because here's what I've learned. You don't owe anyone your destruction. Not your parents, not your siblings, not anyone. Family, real family, doesn't demand that you set yourself on fire to keep them warm. Real family doesn't value you only for what you can provide. Real family doesn't humiliate you and then act shocked when you walk away. Real family respects boundaries. Real family sees your worth beyond your wallet. Real family shows up for you the way you've shown up for them. And if the people you're related to can't do that, they're not your family. They're just people who share your DNA. My real family is small now. My kids, a handful of friends who've proven their loyalty, Rachel and Marcus, my coworkers who covered my shifts when I was falling apart, the woman at the coffee shop who knows my order and always asks about Maya's drawings. These are the people who saw me drowning and threw me a rope instead of an anchor. These are the people who matter. Coda, the peace. Last weekend, Maya asked me if I was sad that I don't talk to Grandma anymore. We were at the park, the same park where we'd been the day my mother showed up at my door. The trees were starting to turn gold and orange against a blue sky that looked like it had been scrubbed clean. No, baby, I told her. I'm not sad. But she's your mom. She is. But being someone's mom doesn't mean you get to treat them badly. Maya thought about this for a moment, her face serious in that way only children's faces can be. So, if I'm mean to you, you won't love me anymore? No, sweetheart. I'll always love you. But if you were mean to me all the time and you never said sorry, and you only wanted me around when you needed something, that wouldn't be okay. Love means respecting each other. She nodded, satisfied. Can I go on the swings now? Go ahead. I watched her run across the grass, her laughter bright in the autumn air. Derek was already on the monkey bars, racing some kid I didn't recognize. They were both smiling. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from an unknown number. This is Bethany. Mom is sick. You need to come home and help. I deleted it without responding. Because I am home. Right here, in this moment, with my children who love me not for what I can give them, but for who I am. With my hard-won peace that cost me everything and gave me back my life. I'm not going back. I'm not going back to being small and useful and expendable. I'm not going back to being the family ATM. I'm not going back to people who loved my money but not my children. I'm not going back to a place where I was only valued when I was giving something away. The wedding I paid for happened without me. And that's perfect. That's exactly how it should be. Because I'm not invisible anymore. I'm free. And freedom, I've learned, doesn't require anyone's permission, not even your mother's. It only requires courage. The courage to say no, the courage to walk away, the courage to believe that you deserve better. I have that courage now. It cost me $47,000, a family, and my own illusion that blood is thicker than respect. But it gave me something priceless. Myself. Epilogue. 1 year later. I'm writing this on a Saturday afternoon. Maya is doing her homework at the kitchen table. Derek is making pasta. He's learned to cook this year, and he's actually pretty good at it. The apartment smells like garlic and tomatoes and home. My phone sits on the counter, silent. No desperate messages, no demands, no guilt trips disguised as family obligation, just silence. And in that silence, I found something I didn't know I was looking for. Peace. Not the peace that comes from everyone liking you, not the peace that comes from keeping everyone happy at your own expense, but the deep, unshakable peace that comes from living in alignment with your own worth. I'm not rich. I'm still working 2 jobs. I'm still tired most days. But I'm not drowning anymore. I'm swimming. And the water doesn't feel so cold when you're not carrying anchors disguised as family. To anyone reading this who sees themselves in my story, you're not crazy. You're not selfish. You're not wrong. You're just done. And being done is not a failure. It's a boundary. It's self-preservation. It's the moment you decide that your peace matters more than someone else's comfort. The people who truly love you will understand. The people who don't, they never loved you in the first place. They loved what you could do for them. Let them go, and in the space they leave behind, build something beautiful. Build a life that's yours. Build relationships that feed you instead of drain you. Build peace. Because you deserve it. Even if your family never tells you that, especially if your family never tells you that, you deserve it. The wedding I wasn't invited to was the best gift they ever gave me. It was the push I needed to finally save myself, and I've never looked back. Moral: sometimes family isn't about those who are related by blood, but about those who respect your boundaries. True strength lies in the ability to walk away when you're being used. And the most important person to show up for in your life is yourself.